Hello, welcome to another episode of the GNPS. It's your boy General Engineer. Mfana wangaleko thukela. Ngihlala khona la kwelika banana. And sitting across me is Radio Dynasty. What I call it. The man on the airways I can listen to. Well, that's me. That's just me. That's just my opinion. Sitting across me is my next guest, DJ Lab. Welcome to the podcast, bro.
Showcase, Gambanya.
You know, there's very few people you can sit down and on radio and actually listen to the content that they're delivering.
Sure.
And for me, you are one of those people. Not
Showcase.
just here at Tewini, but I mean in SA.
Thanks, bro.
Because
Appreciate
of the shows that you're responsible for
Showcase.
on Gagasi FM,
Sure.
which is the Fresh Cut and GFM. You guys changed it. It's GFM.
It's GMS. It's GMS.
It's still
Gagasi Music Sessions. Yeah, still is. Still is. I think it's just the social media stuff.
Okay.
That we kind of had to rename because obviously, you know.
Okay. That's your work. That's a bit of your work. It's not all of it.
Yeah.
We'll get into it. But you know, before we get into all those kind of things, this is a brand new platform.
Showcase.
You know, you might have started establishing your name out there.
Sure.
But on this platform, I'd like to think that my viewers, because I know about you, but I don't know you.
Sure. Sure.
So I'll ask, who is DJ Lab and where does DJ Lab come from? Because you weren't born DJ Lab.
No, I definitely wasn't. The DJ part of who I am was probably, I'd say, born in 99.
Yeah.
1999. My cousin came home with a set of turntables, and I immediately took to it. And I decided I want to spin records initially. So
Okay.
I don't know how it is with rappers per se, but like coming up with the DJ name took a lot. You know, jotting down various names and like eventually, you know, settling on the one. So probably like maybe 2 or 3 years after I started spinning, the name happened. Excuse me. Ngayibeka kanjalo.
Yeah.
So that's when DJ Lab was born. But the person behind the DJ Lab, Mtutuzo Gatuma, born Soweto Dipklufu, Dladleni season 1, Gasepareni.
Shout out to Soweto.
Showcase, but the family was from here.
Yeah.
So what movie was so cool specifically for Hispan. It required him to be up there. So he passed away the year I was born, a few months. So when I was born, it was a no-brainer for me to come back. I think we were back in Durban, like by the time I was 6 months or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Mlazi, Lamonti,
yeah.
Koko nomkhulu babehlala eLamonti, my dad's side. So my pops himself built a house in Mlazi, N, go 5. So spent most of my initial childhood there, and then we moved to Pietermaritzburg in Bali. I think we stayed there for a year only.
Yeah.
It was some exchange program, and then back some weird I got in Oleti, qua AA.
Sorry.
So and then so it was a back and forth. Eventually we moved to Pinetown. My mom's moved to NHM, and a year later my dad moved to Ashley. Funny enough, both of them. So spent most of my in adolescence.
Yeah. Teenage years.
Yeah, the teenage years, the formative years, Corner Pinetown. So I represent all these places. Sakona Nasemakai, Dladleni, from Gosho to Mtwalum. Do you know what I mean? So it's like moved around a bit. So all those places are still there, depending on who I was with at the time. So it's like it was a nice, well-rounded experience.
You're quite a well-traveled man, you know.
Yeah.
As far as this country is concerned.
Locally, definitely. Yeah. Definitely had the opportunity to step out as well, like to a few countries. Balekile bethu, yabo.
Yeah.
Ungagcini nje la. Yabo noma shaya ibhasi nje uthi Jozi.
That's true. Like that's a thing like you find with most Durban people. Like they just
kumnandi la, we don't get out.
Yeah, nobody wants to leave this place.
Nah, it's too nice, man. The weather's great. The people are warm, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of beautiful people. So
you get everything here.
Yeah,
So
man.
would you say being, this journey that you went through your life, you're switching places,
Yeah,
did that work to your benefit in future?
definitely. Ngathi nakukho mina ngibeka noma in
Yeah.
the world I'll function. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
ayikho indawo ngathi mhlawumbe ngiyayigwaja yabo. But you can put me anywhere in the world and I'll be good.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So 1999 is when you started DJing.
Spinning, yeah.
So how do you get introduced into that setup of saying, okay, this is DJing and this is how it works,
Mm-hmm.
and so is doing it, and this is why they're doing it, this is how they're doing it?
Yeah.
When does that moment come for you?
It was
How
it was my cousin, man. I think it was like every day you come to a set of 2 direct drive turntables and a mixer and the other option is go stolo or do this. Do you know what I mean? So it was a no-brainer for me, and it was exciting, like learning it. So umuntu wafunda. So in terms of transitioning from it being just something you do kamereni to, okay, I want to hit a stage somewhere. Glenn Lewis on Metro FM used to play mixtapes from DJ Drama and a couple of other DJs.
Yeah.
So it's like I used to like rush home
just to
listen to those mixes dropping. Yeah, but from Esquele. So it's like nothing would distract you or deter you. Be like, go home and it's what I caught. There's a homie of mine, Faisal. He's since moved to Pietermaritzburg. So we used to bug out Sobabili over those mixtapes. And then that transitioned to, okay, now you're paying attention to everything that's happening around the DJing, not just watching people do their thing and marveling, but like saying, I want to do this as well. And applying yourself accordingly and like collecting the vinyl and collecting all the necessary music to be able to do that, at least be able to put together a 15-minute set. Because we'll be Zumkulu and doing Tuana, Spani, do you know what I mean? So it's like if my cousin was a house DJ, if he isn't getting hip-hop promos or whatever, I need to beg him buy a vinyl, beg him more money, buy another one, and eventually be able to put together 15, 20, 30, 40-minute sets, eventually an hour. I'd say that period lasted about 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
But umuntu was gigging, but as a house DJ playing off of umculo from Amakhutman, Buddha or Dura or Revoning, like my cousin as well, must. So it's like you spin off of whatever strength they have, you know what I mean? And wherever the gigs are, you're there. When in Tuana, but you getting in there, you're opening up early, back chair, so you're playing all the weak joints, you know what I mean? But it's just like you're still there. There's still thousands of people.
They're telling you to live out the hot joints.
Of course. That's how it works. It's like it's not like DJs used to take pride in like not repeating a song in an evening. You know what I mean? So if we're going to accomplish that, there's certain music that you can't touch, because at a later stage, I mean, there's 3, 4, 5, 8,000 people pamwako. You can't outdo,
the main act.
No, they'll leave you behind next time. Now, so it's like you had to make sure that you stayed in your lane. It taught you a couple of things, like to respect hierarchy first and foremost, and understand Uguti, in as much as that's your place now, you're still going to level up. And it teaches you music as well, like to be able to manipulate whatever sounds you have access to and get the best result out of it. There's nobody who sits and creates a song for it to be bad.
That's true.
So sometimes, even if they miss, there's still a way to get the best result out of it. So it taught you that, like, to dig deep with like just limited resources,
You know what I'm picking up out of the story that you're telling me is that you learned at an early age to invest in yourself. Because I mean, buying those vinyls, I'm sure it cost a hell of a lot of money.
Yeah,
at the point
a single was like $80-$90.
That's a lot at that
for
time.
one song on vinyl. You know what I mean? So
and you just want to scratch it.
Yeah, like so you have to be careful about that, like So, gosh, it's almost like getting a pet or some man. Like it teaches you that responsibility of what a life is, feeding it. We gas it, making sure that it's in the yard, doesn't, lead, khona izinto ofundiseka zona, and you grow. So it's the same thing nangala, where it's like somebody actually said, teach your kids to collect vinyl. They'll never do drugs. Because Gabby is, so it's like they'll be spending so much of their money on vinyl, buying turntables, ganjalo anjalo. It's like they won't have time to do anything weird. So in as much as it might not be all the way accurate, but it's something to think about. To give your kid a skill or a discipline. It could be anything, bro. Ngai bola, ngai rugby, ngai no main. But if you set them up on their way, to something and allow them to fixate on something, could be gaming, could be absolutely anything, then it becomes about that and not being about idle and
what you said earlier, having not to play certain songs. I'd figure that's where you learned that you need to discover sort of like new music, so to say.
That was the culture.
And expand your knowledge as far as music is concerned.
That was the culture. Like that's what it was about. Nowadays, like, not to shit on the new school kids, but it's like with MP3s, kulula manje ukuthi uthole noma iyiphi ingoma, and which logic says that then means the likelihood of music being repeated should be less. But if
still playing the same
exactly time. If I've got access to that new Cardi B track, Nami, whereas Dala music would sell out. I think Premiere used to sell vinyl, BPM used to sell vinyl, House Africa Records. So it's like if you weren't importing, you were buying from those two places. When Premiere is out of copies of a certain song, you have to look to other music.
Because it's no longer available.
It's no longer available. So with the availability of that stuff, it's like you like I say, the culture was Wuti, you play a song or you find that rare record that so and so can't find, and you are bumping it. So it's like that was where the pride lay. Idlalwe yimina. Either idlalwe yimina kuqala or yimina ngeto nayo. So it's like that way you're also forced to go as deep as I still remember, like right down to engineers of like who was behind what song. You know what I mean? I still remember producer names. I still remember vocalists' names, like from then. You know what I mean? This is like almost more than 20 years.
More than 20 years.
So it's like you remember because of how much time you spent with the music. So there's this thing of what music is actually an art.
It is.
It's not a disposable entity of here today, gone tomorrow, which is what they try to do with what they call urban music. So it's like they try to treat it as a disposable something, and it's like it refused to be that way. So it's like if you remember who a Martin Solveig is, you look at a crew of producers and everybody that's involved, and you get into what's okay, release underbar, is it Fire Combo, is it Defected, is it this, is it that? Like you end up learning these things and knowing, the Ali Shahi Muhammad's, the Jay Dillers, the Banbanis. It's like you end up knowing all these people because of how much time you spend with the music. Man.
And also, I tend to think that right now, if you look at now, we have so much access to music. But once again, as you say, people are still playing the same music. No one has a desire to be like, I want to be the only person playing this, or be the first to play that. What do you think is the cause of that? Is it because of the quality of the music?
It's hype. It's hype. We're in an age where it's like it's hype or nothing. Do you know what I mean? Because why some of the people that are Instagram famous. If you were to really get into it, like with the ladies, outside of probably their looks, it's like, not to say they don't have personalities or they're ababona bantu nabo, but what is the cause for somebody to follow so and so? Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll make an example of Nomza Mombata. She's doing amazing work. Like with foundations and she's killing it with the acting and being able to carry her business across like 2 countries, South Africa and America,
Yeah.
and do it at like a crazy level on both. Like the stuff that she's going to be doing this year is insane. Yeah, bro. But it's like generally people will follow her for whatever she's wearing or how hot she looks. You understand?
Yeah.
And it's like that then becomes the currency, your appearances. Yeah, bro. Because brands say so.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like now your Instagram must be curated. It needs to look a certain way. You're a brand. There's all this talk. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's good. So that culture trickles all the way down because people stop getting into things for what they are. People aren't following Unomzamo, like waiting with bated breath for her next movie or the next project
that she's working on,
or the next foundation, or like looking to donate, you know, whether it's school fees or clothes for Ingosi,
or listening to what she has to say,
or actually listening to what she has to say. Do you know what her voice sounds like when she's not in a role?
Yeah.
Do you know what she thinks or how she, you know, like how it actually is with her? You understand? But like this hype machine that's there says, let's look at everything else that really doesn't matter. Yeah, but all the fluff. Yeah, but and we end up focusing there. So mwenza leyo nto leyo ngeke izinto zingadeteriorate. Yeah, but so we're going to be hearing the same thing, seeing the same people across various brands because brands are holding all the money, right?
Yeah.
And they're going to be determining, or they're going to be deciding based on these
numbers. They're going to tell us.
They're going to be telling us. It's supposed to be the other way around. Just it's like politics. It's like we should be telling politicians what we want, and how we want it and when we want it. But it's the other way around. You know, we've resigned our power to people that we've put in power. So in Deganjalo, where it's like same thing. You get to clubs. It's like if people were like, actually, like DJs used to get called out in our day, where it's like, nah, dude, you played this set last week.
Yeah, it's the same.
It's the same thing, yeah, bro. So it's like you sort your life out. They used to be called out by other DJs before even the audience. Yeah. So manje, it's like as long as I have my table, I got my bottles, I got my people,
and you got your followers.
I got my followers. I'm nice. Yeah, bro. So it's one of those things where what that does then is like I'm not mad at it, except in Gizwela and just the general public. What happens is that entertainer or that whoever has a very short lifespan. Yeah, well, like in the space that they're operating in.
And just to add, I think that it also you lose direction. You as that person in that position, because you now see that okay, people like me because of my Instagram, so to say, or the reason I'm getting all these gigs or all these contracts is because of my Instagram.
You end up focusing on that,
and you let that be your focus.
Yeah,
that's when we lose the passion. That's when we lose the drive.
We stop caring about you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like the thing is, like sometimes people forget with streaming, with a phone, a smartphone, like pretty much giving you access to through apps, so music listening apps, whatever it is, Instagram, Tumblr. You are able to, if you allow yourself, dive into that rabbit hole and discover things on your own. And if you're a curious person, you'll find the nice music that you like to listen to.
True.
And you'll be able to curate your own playlist. You understand that? So it's like, if it ends up being a situation where the music I listen to on my phone is better than anything I listen to in the club. I might go to the club month end for a vibe and to unwind with my friends. Outside of that, there's no need. You know what I mean? Because the whole thing about clubs was the music. You would go there to
go there to hear
music they haven't heard. You understand? So it's like if you aren't giving people that, you understand? It's like winzan. Yeah, well, so it's one of those things. And there's also the whole floor crossing thing. Like if a certain genre is hot, Masifa Leo genre, we flow across, we come to the side because this is now hot. You know, it's like
that is so sad.
It's weird, but it's your reasons for doing something. If you hang on to them, one, you'll forever be happy with what you're doing. Secondarily, it's like that purity, it'll mean something to you. If you're a DJ, I always say DJs or tastemakers and or producers, like you have to be like a student of whatever it is that you're doing. You have to be a nerd.
That's true.
You understand? You must be comfortable, like just living with your music, and nothing must make sense to you. outside of the music.
Yeah.
But the lifestyle that comes with it. Angisho ukuthi izib. Sangisho ukuthi the core focus should always be about the music.
Yeah.
And that way you will be a black coffee. You understand? That dude, he immerses himself in that stuff. And it's like he's very well rounded and very well versed.
And not only that, but like, you know, there's something that I feel like up and coming musicians right now, they don't get enough of. It's like you. Let's use you for an example.
I'm not a musician.
Well, yeah, I mean, but you function in the music business. Dog.
This is true. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
You stated that you started doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
In 1999.
Sure.
And only when did you start seeing, like, you know, consistent, constructive, and productive movement in what you do?
Probably like 4 years later.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's a long time to do something consistently without, you know, thinking twice and being like, oh, okay, I need to pull back. But you keep doing that till you get to a point. And after that 4 years, were you satisfied at the point that you were?
Can never be satisfied. I'm still not satisfied today because I think the motivation stays the same, but the mission will generally change depending on what anything I like. You know what I mean? Like on the streets or wherever it is in the industry, if there's one, maybe even just the creation of one. Yeah. So it's like it's you serve a function, and when your function is no longer relevant, you die.
You're out the window.
Yeah. So it's one of those things.
When does radio come into play?
Radio's always been there.
Yeah.
I think I was actually telling somebody this story recently. So, like as a kid, like just everybody used to listen to, like radio was TV engekho.
Yeah.
So all we had was like radio with Mkhulu. So it's like I think those alkaline batteries, those weird batteries. Radio. So it's like that was always a swag, Gitori, nan. So like that stuff obviously captured everybody's imagination back then. But seeing it as a function that one could be a part of, Sasqua, my grandfather's younger brother, Mkhulu, we went to his place. There was a function, and it's when I discovered that there was a radio background even in Ladley.
Oh.
Because we get there one day, my uncles, Malum Tami, I think Malum Big Boy, rest in peace, Umlamuli no Bonga had cracked open a storage facility in the back, and there was a whole setup with microphones, with the desk and speakers, like a broadcasting, like a radio setup, yeah. And Babi broadcaster from there. So it was like the craziest thing, like for me as a kid, to see this happening in real life, like right now.
Yeah.
Now seeing it happen, in real time, it was like it bugged me out. So like this is probably 92, 93 maybe.
Yeah.
But like it captured my attention, from that point, and it's like it's something that always interested me. So it becoming a real thing or a reality. I think around about was a few years later, again, like late 90s. I think DYR had started. So I'm a Busta Rhymes fan,
yeah.
So they're playing a Busta Rhymes song. I think that's probably what set me off to be like, because it wasn't a single, but it was a song on the album, which was one of my favorites. And I'm like, hey, bro, you can do that? Like, you can play songs that you like on radio,
yeah,
and that isn't a single, that doesn't necessarily have a video with it. So it's like that then set something off as well. If I were to ever get onto radio, that's what I would do. I would play B-sides. I would play the songs that nobody expects to hear. Like, that's what it must be about. Like, you must excite people, like sort of touch people that way, where things that are personal to them, firstly, they're personal to you, but things that would be personal to them, you give them that, from a radio point of view. And I always had this theory, if you can do that, like people would really, enjoy that, and probably appreciate you for doing that.
Yeah.
So we were then years later given a shot by, it was me first. I met a gentleman called Brian Tabete. We were promoting at a club based in Pine Town, to Ozone. and the guys from P4 came and did an event. I remember Wakona and Brian Tabete, the Locomotions, and a few other people I don't remember. So there was a young lady I was with. I wasn't sure if he was trying to holler at her or trying to impress her, but he offered me a slot on radio. So like we did that, and I came through and I delivered a mix, but it was based off a set that he'd heard me play at the club.
Okay.
And then he was like, okay, cool. So that was my first taste of like
commercial radio,
high flying. Like, bear in mind, I'd done something on DYR already, so I'd tick that box. Like, I'd made it to DYR and dropped a set, and so there was like, yeah, did that, yeah, bro. And then this guy invited me. I didn't know how big P4 was. I hadn't really heard of it because it wasn't my demographic or age group or whatever it was. So metro tin, yeah, bro. So then this happens, and there's, you know, old people, uncles, and my brothers surrounding. Like, oh snap! People are listening to this radio station, and then it transitioned from P4 to Ikakas.
Yeah,
and then it was like, then okay, this is dope.
Yeah,
bro. And the Numakosi Koza, who's current to talent management Ikakas, he hit us up, and he was like, "Here's a slot. Yeah, about 45 minutes." On a 3-hour show. Like, the first 45 minutes was going to be out on a Friday at 9 p.m. So we're like, oh,
that's crazy.
Feel like as memes, like my mic, you like, if you don't have any radio training or background, it's like thinking on a stage, they cut us. Yeah, but like after a few months, but we'd gotten our point across, like we'd done our thing, yeah, bro. And that to and fro happened for about 6 years, like getting hired unofficially and fired unofficially. So yeah, it took me 6 years to get my first contract at Gagasi.
So wait, in that 6 years now, is it a thing for you to master the craft, or
I'm still
just still a thing that you do on the side and you're focusing on the DJ?
I wasn't even like, the DJing has always been a hobby for me.
Yeah,
it's always been something that I do. So I've never looked at it as a job, as an income generator. It's okay, it's like I have this reservation about taking like a musical craft or an art and trying to make it a career, like intentionally, you know, because there's a lot of frustrations. First and foremost, there's a whole lot of people doing what you do. You might be the best at it, but because there's a whole lot of people doing what you do, the person utilizing those services might not see the value in paying you 10 grand to come and play an hour set, until you decide to brand yourself in a certain way, or you decide to angle yourself in a certain way. Until that happens, it's like it'll only just frustrate you. So it's one of those things like meluyenze with your whole heart and just let it grow organically on its own. But I
feel like there's something that's missing in today's youth.
In what? You know? Like what exactly?
Just doing things for the love of it. Without,
it's because of what they get told. It's that hype machine that I keep referring to, where it's like you come across kids now, like artists who, yes, hip hop is about bravado, me. That's the mindset. But the work that goes into making a career out of it, that attitude needs to be put to the side. You can be that person when you're on the mic, on a stage, entertaining an audience, but like when the cameras are off and there's no audience in front of you, you need to switch that off. But kids go and they watch Lil Wayne interviews, Juice WRLD interviews, wherever all these kids that are on these antidepressant meds are, that are sitting there looking disinterested because bane ghost, and kids want to carry themselves that way because that's the new cool, right? And it's like they don't understand what it takes. I always tell this to the DJs. I say, if it's when it's octagon, you guys organize your own boxing gloves. Because it's like it's like a chin check. It's like a reality check where it's like, okay, what I think it isn't. So it's like it's like you need to reset this thing, the attitude, the approach, and understand metric. You can't hype beast your way through it because everybody loves you or because you're this great person. No, you need to hit the books. After usukelezile, You need to be putting in your CV. You need to be actively looking for a job. If your college doesn't place you guys, you understand. Those types of colleges usually cost a lot of money. You pay for that type of thing. But for the rest of the people, it's like you have to apply yourself. It's so insane to eat a sandwich. Mengekho muntu or ungekho aunt or a butler or a helper. You have to actively get up, slice that bread if it isn't already sliced. Put it into the toaster or snackwich machine or whatever it is that you need to do. Go to the fridge, pour a beverage. If you don't do any of these things, you're not gonna eat. Let's not talk about that, like getting the money for that food to be in the house, but like to actually have a sandwich and put it in your mouth, you need to make the effort. So it's like they lose it at some point, and social media allows for that because it's like you literally get to curate a life. You literally get to curate whatever it is that you're wanting to do, no matter how false it is. Like you get to lie to people.
Give false impressions.
Exactly. And you get away with it because nobody's gonna look at an item of clothing you're wearing and be like, you will look at you and be like, this is literally 100,000 rands worth of like get-ups. 20,000 but if and then what are they driving? All of those things, like
I once hung around like an aspiring hip hop artist. And so apparently he knew, like, I won't mention because it would be too obvious, but he knew some artist that was kind of blown up, so to say. And they happened to be at the same event the previous day. So now we out at the garage the next day, and he's still rocking the same clothes. Nigga had to go hide in the car because he was afraid that these guys were gonna see him in the same clothes they was wearing yesterday. I'm like, yo, dude,
that's too much work.
Dude,
that's too much work. That's too much stress. That's unnecessary, man.
So to me, it sort of didn't make sense. It's like because. Minang Makaya, dog.
Showcase.
Makaya. We worry about other things other than what you're wearing.
Other things to stress yourself out about.
Like what you're wearing is the last thing that people care about.
Yeah, showcase.
And obviously, I get where that comes from because it comes from that. Because we cannot deny the fact that the influence of this hip hop culture comes from overseas, which is the United States.
Sure.
And that's the culture there, but. As much as we are inspired by that, we cannot bring those same attitude or those same behaviors and expect them to work for us here.
Here's a jump.
Because it's a different community.
Here's a jump. And people that do that always suffer, and it's almost like they're in denial about their suffering and why they're suffering.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing. But yeah, you're right. You're very right. Like you can't. I always say that. Even on the artistry or the music side, it's like you can't take what's happening there now and apply it here.
Yeah, you cannot do what AKA is doing.
Yeah. If
AKA decides to get in an argument, in a Twitter argument with a radio DJ, well, I'd like to think that he can afford that.
Not necessarily.
Well,
I always say this. It's like, yes, he might be able to take some of the hits. It's like, yes, his and Casper's to and fro generated a whole lot of, noise, and there was all this excitement, and they were able to get spin-offs going. But it hurt both their careers.
Yeah.
You understand? And it's like, unfortunately, we still live in a racially divided society. And it's like certain people will look at that whole AKA and Casper beef and decide whatever it is. The one homie, puts on the humble vibes, nanani. And the other homies still there'll be one person be like, and then it's like that'll then be the mindset, and people will just no longer support homie. Do you know what I mean? And it's like their biggest market was KZN, like in terms of support and in terms of just the regularity of them popping up and showing up here. When that slows down, like during that time where they're doing this to and fro, where they and people are like, actually, we don't need any of that. It's like, hey, I see food,
Yeah.
and then because culturally, like you're saying, we're not about that. And then it dies. It's got nothing to do with the music they're making, whether it's great or not or whatever it is. It's just about the attitude and or the vibe.
But you know what I think? I also think that, sometimes, especially here in South Africa, I'll say this, public figures, they don't understand their roles in society. If you're an artist as big as like Casper and AKA Ricky Rick, as Java, there's certain people of the population that hang on by the words that come out of your mouth.
Yeah.
And you cannot say you can't take responsibility of that.
Yeah.
Because when you're out there campaigning for these people to support your brand and support whatever it is that you're doing, you involving them.
Yeah.
So therefore, whatever you say after that and they do because you said X, Y, Z, you are responsible for that.
Yeah.
And it's high time that, public figures, they took responsibility of their actions and their words.
Yeah.
And understand that at the end of the day, fine, you're doing well in your career, but there's a society that you are part of.
This is true. Everybody, they say power corrupts, man. And absolute power corrupts absolutely, because I'm not going to say every, but most, especially from this generation, most artists that are doing their thing, they kind of lose sight. Yeah, well, I don't know if it's because the type of pressure that is exerted upon them,
Yeah.
But like if you look at the older school, the older generation, it's time
Rest in peace, man.
And it's like, man, listen, like class, absolute class. This is a dude that's like got Grammys on Grammys on Grammys.
No beef with anyone.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's one of those things. He hung on to his family. Like he didn't lose his family. This is the same person who was spending 60 to 70% of his time outside of the country, like killing it around the world, would come back and still be himself. So it's like, what is it exactly? You know what I mean? Because you can't tell me about success, because if you want to talk success, it doesn't get bigger than him.
Yeah.
It literally doesn't. If you think there was an album with Paul Simon, Nini. You know what I mean? Like, and then the accolades that followed after that. Talk Lion King, talk everything that this guy has been done, and understand what there's bank, there's money, like in all of these things. So
he as far as music is concerned, he's one of the people that actually passed down a legacy. A whole legacy.
Literally. Pun intended. You know what I mean? Like, so it's izona zonke lezo zinto ukuthi what then made him behave that way? Because the success was insane.
Yeah.
And it's over decades. You understand that? Like, nobody else can lay claim to that except for a few people. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
A giant. Like internationally. Oledi, rest in peace. A giant. You know what I mean? Like, through all the hardship, and they had love from, like, we're talking people that are powerful in countries and in states and on continents. You know what I mean? And it's just like, it's a biggie. So it's like, what is it about the new school kids? What is it? Is it the genre? You know, because it's like, you look at it now and it's like, it's lentoleo, fusek, no fogo of pagat, and it's like, why? Because it you lose people. True. You know what I mean? You lose people, and it's we can't pin it down to anything. You know, you can say what the culture says, or I must be this. I'm saying, by all means, have that alter ego that you unleash on stage, and keep them on stage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
make it part of your act.
Put them into the music, like as agube logo, because like,
and leave it there.
Do you understand that? Because everybody else, like, they get cut short.
Yeah.
You know, their life, if it isn't their lifespan, it's their career.
Yeah.
Well, and Agubi Sharp, you know what I mean? Think it Trompis. I was watching them perform in December. This is as a cool but they're still doing their thing, and they're still loved by everybody.
Yeah.
TKZ, yes, they've got their, their internal turmoil, nani. But man, like, put them on stage, man. They switch it on.
No,
and
listen,
like,
the fact that they could still come together irrespective of
their differences. Yeah. Konke lokho, it's like, and it's izona zonke lezo zinto. You know what I mean? And it goes on. The list is long, man. So it's you don't want to say mhlawumbe into nabazali phakathi or whatever it is. A lot of these dudes choose to live those lives, but you don't know ukuthi umsuka wayo lento ikephi besides TV.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, there's no other place where it comes from.
But why? You know, like you ask yourself, why does this then make sense to you? Because and this is where they ended up.
Yeah.
You know, what makes you think you'll survive, you know, behaving in a certain way.
I think it also goes with the fact that I tend to find that, you know, as far as being educated in music, I mean, you're well educated. And did you go to any school to do that?
Nah, I didn't.
That's self-education.
Yeah, I mean, studied sound engineering at L&B, but there was some music theory. But in terms of music industry, it's like it's literally learning. Yeah, well.
And that's the problem. Like, and most of these up-and-coming artists, young up-and-coming artists, they don't take time to study the history of music.
They don't
never mind. You know, at the end of the day, you're doing hip-hop, but you are South African. You know, don't let that escape your mind. So don't get confused because now you got sick bars every time, every second word you can put in fuck, shit, and whatever, you know, profanity you can put in there. But don't take that out of the music and now bring it into the public.
Sure, guys.
Like what you're saying is going to work against you.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that within the youth, and obviously with people like you sharing all this info. I was listening last night on the Fresh Card.
Sure.
And I like the topic that you guys got into in the later stages of the show, where you guys spoke about soft skills.
Very important. Shout out to Uspe and Bed.
Yeah.
He's actually the one who had the flat tire. So yeah, before we started recording.
That's a very important man. He's the organizer of Imbiz, Music Imbiz.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a brilliant initiative. I was speaking to T-Bag about it because he is the one who brought it up yesterday. And I like the, you know, the education because education is very important.
Yeah.
You know, like that's why I'm asking you these things. Like, you know, you've take your time, you know, to learn these things. And I like how you are sharing all these lessons. And obviously through the various avenues that you have to do that. And I like what you're doing also in terms of, you know, broadening the culture. You know, it's not just you covered, you got your work and your bills are paid. You still make sure that you give an opportunity to the next person.
It's important. It's very important because like Gatukaza time he literally left a legacy. Mubab Shabalala and you want to do that. It's like if you haven't passed on your skill set, they say good leaders are people that are able to not be there. You know what I mean? Like you would have created an environment where people can function without you. A good leader is somebody who creates an environment where people can function without them. Do you know what I mean?
True.
So that's what you want to do. Like if I drop dead tomorrow, like none of the shows, none of the programs that I've got going must stop.
Yeah.
Then I would have done my job. If they die with me, I wouldn't have done my job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It would have been about me. Yeah, bro.
You know. Well, here in Durban, now let's be more specific to this side. We, you know, people complain and everyone I meet is like, people don't want to work together. Artists are moving from Durban to go to Joburg, get bigger opportunities. For you, in this day and age, in 2020, is that still necessary?
It's a very strange topic for me. And it's strange for a few reasons, right?
Yeah.
It's like this. It's like understanding what are you here to do? Are you here to rap?
Yeah.
Are you here to DJ? Are you here to produce? Like, what are you here to do? Because a lot of people don't know what they're here to do. They want to be part of hip-hop some way, somehow. Yeah, but maybe they're just excited by the culture. If ungazazi utuzeleni, it's going to be very difficult for you to succeed anywhere in the world. If you are clear on what it is that you're wanting to do, yes, there'll be challenges. I was clear when we started. I was clear on what I wanted to do. 2003, I remember I had a music shop like Glenwood, and my business partner, said to him, dude, we're going to need to get into some of these spaces because when this thing takes off, I don't want to be in the crowd cheering on. I want to be one of the people behind it. Yeah, bro. And I'm comfortable with sitting behind the curtain and being in the engine room. Like sharp and I'm not worried about that. And I set off to do that. The reason why I stuck it out at Gagasi and P4 for 6 years before I got the contract is because what I was doing, I was getting it across. I didn't need money for it. Not to say but though that was a sacrifice I was willing to make. Ama sacrifices ethu fan. Izinto ekumele uzenze wena in your life in order to achieve what you're wanting to do. Ngeke kufane with the next person. Our very fingerprints are not the same.
True.
So what makes you think your journey or your path towards your destiny has got to be the same as the next person? It won't. It can't. Like if I was to go through the roster of artists who made it here in Durban, Labeng Bazi, their journeys were totally different from the other. How Duncan popped is totally different to how Zagwe popped. Is totally different to how Dream Team popped. Is totally different to how Witness the Funk popped. Totally different to how Beast is doing his thing. Totally different to how Nasty C is doing his thing. The common thing, except bar, I think, with Duncan, who was being represented from Josie initially during his come up, all of them were here doing their thing. Yes, they scaled up when they went to Joburg, but kunamanye conversations ayikade senziwe
here already.
We understand that like when their music broke, it was broken here. Some of these artists in Mabalile, we made sure that happened on our platforms that we had, the Fresh Cuts, the GMS back then, and that's what we set out to do, to make sure that artists have a mouthpiece. Now the thing is this, I think I still remember some of the initial interviews we had with them, or when they stepped out into the limelight. I can tell you for a fact that 100% of these people were ready when the time came. They were prepared when the time came. Abantu abaningi bahlezi beyithela ngabandayo. Umuntu ayithola interview, ayisubmit ingoma yakhe, enze yonke into. Afike ku-interview abantu nje umuntu. Not cut through, not make an impact. Athole stage time, same muntu. Abande nje stage. Angayenza into yakhe. People will remember you when you apply yourself. People will remember you for your wins. If you get in front of a crowd and you don't win a crowd over, nobody's going to remember you.
Yeah,
if you get on
you can't
air,
blame anyone for that.
No, see, that's the thing. A friend of mine said something pretty profound to me, like last year. He said to me, flop if you follow the timeline, like back far enough, if you go back far enough, you'll get to a point where you had a decision to make, and you made a decision that ended you up guleo ghostile. Therefore, at that point, it is then your fault. Ugutu why? Later on down the line, isn't spanang. If you go back far enough in your timeline, you let somebody get away with something, or you didn't address an issue, or you forgot to do something, that way, everything that is happening in your life is your responsibility. Yeah. So I took that from that conversation where the good and bad in your life is on you. If everybody's attitude was like that, or with everything good and bad that happens in my life,
I take responsibility.
It's on me. God, what you taking responsibility for it or not? It's your fault.
Yeah.
It's on you. You are being credited with it. Whether you like to admit that or not, it's on you.
Yeah.
There's that one morning you didn't wake up to go in Guti and wafigu spanband lo mdinga, and you decided to feel sorry for yourself that day.
Yeah.
Or there was a day but you could have gone to Sbanban, but because the week before or whatever, or your pride got in the way for a situation, these are decisions that you're making. You understand? There's a kid. Like, you see weird things space to go to a performance because walk 3 kilometers.
What?
It's a nangshia. lost out on an entire opportunity. And he got dropped from the label, dropped by everybody that he was working with. Because what tested on a land, okay, sharp, it's 3 kilometers. That'll take you 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's not
30 minutes max.
That's
you understand? Take your time.
Especially if you're young.
Especially if you want it.
Yeah.
You understand the leyo nto leyo. So ingakho ngithi mina kuningi. So bonke labantu abakhala abacomplainayo. Hey, like I don't have any tears for them.
Yeah.
It's like we literally built a scene that wasn't there.
Yeah.
So what's your story? Everything you need is there now.
And not only that, but you built the scene.
Yeah.
But you guys you obviously are responsible for that scene. But you guys are still approachable.
Yeah.
You know?
Like people will create walls in their minds. Unfortunately, it's a human thing. It's not even an artist thing. Yabo.
Yeah.
And it's like you can't be mad at people for that. But it's like you do everything you can. Like none of my interviews on air are ever serious. Like to a point where besides like ukuthi ngengikwazi ukuya lapha. Yabo. Hey, no, should be man. Like I'll poke fun at people like to a point where you relax.
It's
like,
always relaxed, bro.
We'll always shoot the shit.
I've never heard an interview where and it's a nice interview because you also play the guy's music that's there in so that people can hear the music.
You were introducing this person.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I always say it's like literally for a performance. Some of my favorite performances have not been longer than 15 minutes in life. From an Erykah Badu, from who are these guys, Moloko.
Yeah.
Like some of my favorite performances. I think the Moloko one is like 6 minutes long. You can change the world in 5 to 6 minutes.
Imagine.
You can literally change the world. If you have an interview, if you come prepared for any and everything that gets shot your way. I think one of my favorite interviews was Nasty C's. It was his first interview ever on radio.
Yeah. I think that's on YouTube. That's the one that's everywhere.
I don't even know. That interview got him on stage with AKA 2 weeks later. Not by me, but by somebody who was in the position to do that, who was a part of the station. This kid came on, I was answering questions, dealing with everything like that was being put in front of him. And then he went and did what a rapper does when he was given a beat. Funa happy beat, no me hip. Yeah, pawns with beat and he bodied it. He came prepared to do what he was supposed to be there to do. In 30 minutes after that, the guy who's head of events at Gagasi passed through the doors. He's like, and it was a case of Kwanchi. Bella si amachita sangaso angago doti. Segenan bolo ve ganji petrol tiwanzo kashuna segenan. And on air, go announce he won't be opening for AKA. He will be on stage during AKA's performance with him in 2 weeks. I think it was the second or third one.
And everything
off of preparation. No, it wasn't a quick fix because AKA was going through his stuff. Why is he been doing it for I think a year after that or whatever?
Yeah, I remember.
He wasn't put on by AKA, but he created an opportunity for himself by coming prepared. It took a year for him to start making traction. Yeah, but there's no quick fix.
Yeah.
That interview didn't make the kid. No, don't get that wrong. You understand? But he was able to make his mark. Yeah, but nobody can lay claim to anybody's success.
That's true.
Yeah, but as soon as people get that into their heads, it's like even this thing of discovers how you gonna discover somebody.
What about the people that knew him before you?
Besides logo, it's like it's you may have given him or granted him an opportunity to further his career. You understand? Because if you discovered something, I feel like then Leon to Leo belongs to you. It's yours.
Yeah. You have
and
ownership.
If we're looking at situations, is that then the case still?
No.
Yeah, boy, Leon to Leo. So it's like it's one of those things that you are part of this kid's journey, and either don't know pata grand in Saspana or we patanga sharp and Saspan and Seko grand.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy. So it's one of those things where it's like the kid I was interviewing yesterday.
Joss.
Yeah, Joss. Like what fucked me up was that he says he was inspired by a Nasty.
Exactly.
Like the moves. And he called him Nasty C. He was inspired by Nasty C's moves, not the music, not anything else. You have to be aware, and cerebral at all times. Would say, come on, like how do I get into this situation? Because in this age where it's no longer just TV and radio, there's online. There's obviously performances, which have always been TV, radio performances.
Yeah.
But there's a whole lot more other things. Do you know what I mean? And endorsements and this and that. It's like, how do you quieten the noise around the music? Okay, but the music thing, much. What then? You know what I mean? Like, if you apply yourself lapo, and if you struggle with that, find somebody who can help you with that. But inte balegile is you, the product. Amachita and ladies as well. They struggle with being honest with themselves about their product.
You can say that again.
Because it's like, what are you bouncing your product off of? It's like when we came out the gate, I was competing with Dr. Dre in my mind.
Yeah.
When we put a project out, so I signed up Chronic 2001.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah. We're young bastard on time.
It's gotta be.
Like, we gotta chase this dude, yeah, bro. Because that was, for me, sonically, I've got a sound engineering background. I said, sonically, this at that time was untopped.
Yeah, that's the level you want to be at.
Yeah, I want to surpass that.
Yeah.
And so everything I was doing was to get there. And beyond that, it's like, obviously, I'm not going to catch Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
But it's like, I can try. And if I'm anywhere near him, I'm better than a shitload of people behind me.
Yeah.
Like the attention to detail. It's like, how are you applying yourself as a DJ? My two favorite DJs are Fat Joe and Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah.
It's like, technically, Jazzy Jeff is like, he's unparalleled, right?
Yeah.
Fat Joe, people don't know Fat Joe.
They don't know.
Fat Joe's a problem. And it's like, if those are the two people I'm paying attention to and I'm chasing them as a standard, if they are the greatest of all time and I'm chasing that standard, my name surely will be mentioned somewhere, somehow. You understand that, in that conversation.
True.
Exactly. So it's like, Angi Brugate, but it's like, I look at history and it's like, I can only imagine how much time Jazzy Jeff spends spinning. You know what I mean? Like, and how intrinsically involved he is in like product development. They get the products first to it. We test it, give us feedback. Yeah. Well, he's that deep. I have never been approached by a Rain or a Serato or
to say, yo,
if it's in mind. So I haven't done my work.
Yeah.
I haven't applied myself enough to be the best at that. Yeah, well. So it's like, I need to look at where my strengths lie. Some people want this music thing so badly, but they don't consider Oguti as in, I would be an amazing A&R. Maybe I'd be an amazing producer.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd be insane at marketing other artists.
Yeah.
You understand that?
Or maybe you're a good songwriter.
Maybe I'm a crazy songwriter. But because we want to feed this ego, we don't want to let that go. I think Dionne Warwick, old school singer, lady singer, look her up.
Yeah.
I watched a documentary. She had two white dudes that she used to work with. And they had a fallout at some point. So nobody's comfortable talking about it.
Yeah.
I think one of the guys who was responsible for the music, I think he lost his way. Yeah, bo.
Yeah.
But she was sitting with a guy who wrote the music, and she was sitting with somebody who was crazy with the lyrics. Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
And she was the voice. You understand? These two dudes, nobody knew about them. Nobody cared about them.
Because we have...
But she couldn't exist without these two. And when they had the fallout, her career struggled for like a significant amount of time. She was able to pick the pieces up again, and she learned how to write because of the time that she spent with these guys. And there's other songwriters who were able to contribute. Yeah, well, that's when the cover albums come out. In the name of survival. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, nobody needed to know about them. But chances are, there's a good probability that they made even more money than her.
Yeah.
In this entire setup. So it's like, abantu bafuna. People don't want to learn how deep the music business goes.
Yeah.
And they don't want to adapt either. because I can write 216 bar verses,
that means
I deserve.
Yeah.
Look, I'm to deserve. I deserve to be.
I'm better than so and so. I deserve to be.
Says whom? Because I can tell you for a fact, for free, that there's other MCs that are flyer than Nasty C that I know personally.
And that's not. It's not to knock off any stock of Nasty C.
Mm-mm.
You know,
Like in terms like bar for bar, like okay, let's construct 16 bar verses.
Yeah.
Let's go. I can name top of my head 10 kids that'll body Nasty,
absolutely.
but it doesn't matter because Nasty's thinking about everything else. The songwriting being the important thing, being able to write a song, make things flow. Verse 1, because it's music at the end of the day. Hip hop doesn't belong in its own realm.
True.
It belongs with Lagwa music. What does music dictate? Like sonically, it has to make sense, right?
Yeah.
It has to sound good.
It has to sound good too.
So yeah, I feel like I'm spending too much time on these complaining kids. But like, it needs to be addressed because the next thing that happens is kukulinda bema gatekeeper.
Yeah.
And I'm saying,
you're not letting us in, not opening up the industry.
And I always say this to Amachi, there's no industry in Durban.
Yeah.
There's no industry in Durban. So if there's no industry, it means there's no fence. And therefore there can be no
gatekeeper.
Literally, if you go back, everything that's there, somebody had to start it and build it. And that's what happened. Yeah, well, so if you feel what's going to
oh. Bro,
yeah.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
And not only that, you're on point. Once again,
yeah,
you don't miss the nail. I wish we could do this much longer.
Yeah,
Clearly,
no, for sure.
I knew you coming here. Time was not gonna be enough. It's not gonna be on our side. But I like to say this. Since you've been here, you know how it goes. I'll let you decide. If you feel like this is a platform you wanna come back and have this, the door is open.
No, for sure.
You know, we'd love to have you back here.
For sure.
You are a very valuable asset to this city.
Sure, guys. No,
don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
No, I don't listen to anyone.
Other than that, before we close this, I don't know if I'm allowed to say you can plug in your shit. Your shit is bigger than my shit.
Nah, man. Just check out Gagasi, check out the Fresh Cut, check out GMS. But yeah, like I think more importantly, man, the platform is dope. There's good work that's being put in. But anybody that wants to do anything, just do it, bruh.
Yeah.
And I've been saying this thing recently because of events that have been happening personally. Your ideas are valid.
True.
If you have an idea, it was given to you by somebody. Yeah, well, or by God, or whoever it is. And the idea is to just polish it until it shines. And then like just affect it, give it to the people. If it's an idea that's an original, just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And do it from the purity of your heart, and just make the most of it, man. And yeah, nobody can stop you. Nobody has the power to stop you unless they put a bullet through your head, or
you just drop dead.
Yeah, but or like God decide. Like nobody has the power to stop anybody.
Yeah. Unless
it's physically. Yeah, but in terms of like you reaching your dreams and doing whatever it is that you're wanting to do, by being on earth, you're a winner. You're that sperm cell that cut through. So it's like you're already a winner. So nobody can dub you or call you a loser or whatever it is. So get yours. Like, just make the most of it. People have their own problems. Or people that try to tell you, it's like, say, it doesn't work. We're all fighting demons. And maybe that's their demon for that day. And if you allow it to affect you, you're going to screw yourself over. So whatever's in your heart, go for it. Your ideas are valid. And yeah, don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
Oh, thank you. DJ Lab, ladies and gentlemen.
Showcase.
Thank you for joining us on the podcast.
Thanks for having me, man.
I don't know if you don't want to plug in your Instagram and socials and all your... doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, man. Just what's the Instagram handle for the show?
It's at GNPS_podcast. You can follow myself at General_Ingeniela. You can follow my homie behind the camera at TinoFilms_. Other than that, it's been real. Catch us next time. Peace.